Good morning, everyone. This is Morning Brews and Cruise News. My name is Trevor Shelby, and it is Wednesday, guys. We're almost through the week, almost to the weekend. I can't wait to get there. Today, we are going over some very interesting cruise news. The Miami Slice, you know that on the Carnival celebration? Carnival's being sued over its name, and Carnival has now kind of gone back and, explained why they used the name Miami Slice. We're going to kind of go into more of those details there. We're going to talk about some positive and not so positive information on that Titan sub that went missing this last weekend. It was going down to see the Titanic, and they are missing. So there's some up-to-date information that we'll be bringing you here this morning. Also, we don't typically get this far in the song. The song gets really interesting. There's a cruise ship out there that has about 100 passengers that are sick. We're going to talk about that as well. So we're going to maybe give you a few tips on maybe avoiding that. So here we go. Oh, man, this coffee. Okay, let's talk about it. This is actually really, really good. This coffee is by Moose Munch. I had to look. Sorry, guys. This is from Moose Munch Gourmet Coffee. It's a Harry and David brand. It is really, really good. The flavoring in this is maple walnut, so that's pretty cool. The link is going to be down in the description below if you want to try it. Out of 10, I would give this a solid 7. It's darn good coffee. It's definitely going to wake me up because I've had a hard start today, guys. It was a rough night last night. I don't know if you can tell. If you're listening on the podcast, hey, did I mention this is a podcast too? If you don't catch me on YouTube, you can always catch me on the podcast. And if you're listening to me on a podcast and you're like, man, this guy sounds so cool, I want to see him in person. Well, you can go to YouTube, search out Peer Runners, and look for Morning Brews and Cruise News. And here I am. And so there we go. We try to have a good time here. And so this is something new that I'm doing. And so the format's always kind of updating and changing. So if there's anything you do or don't like about this show too, let me know. Because I'm one of those people that I take criticism well, and I actually take YouTube criticism pretty well too. Usually YouTube criticism is where somebody makes fun of my hairline or, says my beard is ugly or something along those lines and just makes fun of me. And so I delete, so it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, let's talk about this Miami Slice whole debacle going on here. So there's apparently a trademark dispute over the name Miami Slice. There is a Miami Slice in Miami. And so they've been around for quite a while, and apparently, they've built up this brand, they've built up this name, and Carnival Cruise has gone in and they've created, the 820 Biscayne area, and they made their pizzeria the Miami Slice. Well, the similarities don't really end there because Miami's Miami Slice this is going to get confusing. The OG, let's call it the OG Miami Slice. They had a system where they had like 5 pies and they would, serve it by the slice or serve it by the pie. And it's exactly like Carnival's version. But in Carnival's defense, all of their pizzerias were that way. So, their 24-hour or now not so 24-hour pizzeria, that I can kind of see it both ways. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So Carnival came back at them yesterday and in this lawsuit, and they said Miami Slice is a generic term and they should have the right to use that on their cruise ship. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. It's going to come down to if they, infringed on this other, smaller company's name. I'm sorry if you guys can hear chickens, by the way. That's my chickens. This is my life. Now, an update on the submersible craft that went down to go see the Titanic. Its name was Titan. And Titan had 5 passengers on board. They are all declared missing. That's been since last Sunday, I believe. So it was revealed yesterday that they had less than 40 hours of oxygen. And today they're saying they have an estimated 24 hours of oxygen left. So this making this the final 24 hours for them to really do this search. They have heard noises. So they're flying aircraft in the search area, and they have heard noises underwater. And if you don't know that, if you're trapped in a submarine and they're searching for you with sonar, you want to make noise because that sonar is going to end up picking it up. So I've seen some conflicting reports now. So they have more sensitive equipment that they've deployed into that area. And both reports that I've read have both said that they both have and have not heard the noises with that equipment. What's ideal is they hear it and they can kind of zone in on maybe where this craft is. The other negative here is, what do you do once you find it? It's all going to come down to what depth it's at and what we have that's available to actually go and rescue them. These ships that deploy these submersible, craft, they don't move very fast. This is a really, really sad situation. So hopefully we get a good outcome out of this, as unlikely as that seems. So, let's just hope. So let's head on over to Viking for our final story today. This is an interesting one because this is something that happens often, but now, post-COVID, you kind of hear about it more. Cruise ships are kind of like, beakers, like a horrible science experiment sometimes. And so if you get a lot of people that aren't washing their hands, not taking care of themselves, then they could be spreading that stuff all over the ship. That's why on a lot of cruise ships, you see crew doing nothing but all day cleaning things. Like I was on the Carnival Celebration, and there was a guy that his job was to go up and down the stairs pretty much and just clean the railings. So you put your hands on those rails and, everybody does that. So you're touching what everybody's touching. And so they were making sure that stayed clean. Well, here on the Norwegian Neptune, there has been an outbreak. Over 100 passengers and crew have reported this illness kind of spreading. Now, this year alone, the CDC has recorded 13 instances where norovirus has broke out on cruise ships. That's a couple of cruise ships a month. So, this is something that happens. And, and like I said, close spaces, everybody's kind of packed in here or there. And so that's why I'm starting to like these bigger ships. Not just because you think about it, there's more people on those ships. But I will say that when I was on the Carnival Celebration, I didn't feel like there was too many people around me because it was such a large ship and people were just spread out with so many things to do all over that ship. I didn't feel too crowded, and I feel like that maybe they've got kind of a system that they're working out with some of those larger ships. Believe it or not, I used to be a jailer. So I used to work at the Oklahoma County Jail here in Oklahoma City, and it was wild, man. This stuff would break out all the time. You would have to lock down whole pods just because people, it depended on how many, people you had to really deal with. If I remember right, a pod had somewhere between 25 and 50 cells, and you could have up to 3 or 4 people in a cell. Now, it was designed with bunk beds, but we had what was called boats that was a little bed you could slide in. And so if you had to pack the jail. And so that happened often. So we were always over capacity. It was a horrible, horrible, terrible job. And the stuff would break out and you would have to be real cautious as a guard there because you had to go in, serve meals, interact with everybody daily. And you were trying not to get sick and take all that home. So I do understand the importance of, washing your hands, making sure you're staying clean, making sure you're, keep some hand sanitizer on you. When you're going on a cruise, you got to think about all of those things. One thing I love that Carnival does, and I bring up Carnival a lot because those are the ships that I've been on. So I believe other cruise ships do this as well. So other cruise companies. And so what Carnival does is they put those hand sanitizer stations outside every restaurant. So you walk in, get some hand sanitizer, clean your hands. Use the restroom, definitely clean your hands, folks. There are so many people that just walk in, use the bathroom, and walk out. That is gross. Not to shame you, but shame on you. Now, I want to thank you all for setting sail with us on this beautiful Wednesday morning over at Morning Brews and Cruise News. Remember that every day is a new opportunity for adventure. Whether it's exploring a brand new, delicious coffee or experiencing the latest cruise news with Trevor over at Morning Brews and Cruise News. Did I mention Morning Brews and Cruise News? So keep your spirits high, your mugs full. Smooth sailing, Pier Runners.